Well, this is my workshop, and this is where all the recent work came from. I started this maybe 15 or 20 years ago, which sounds silly, but I collected at antique shops and auctions and yard sales all these pieces. Like this is these are bowling pins to a kid's bowling set, and some old shoe lasts. And then I take a box and start playing with all these parts that I have here. Some of them are new, new to me, that I bought recently, and some of them are maybe 10 years old, but that's the fun of it. So the fun of it is, too, that I play with all of this, keep putting them together, and I'm having a ball at this age. You know, painting is fun, and sometimes I'll take a painting and put it in the back of one of these boxes. Or I'll just paint it black or plain. You know, things, medallions here, children's tops that were made here in Brandon, probably about 1920 or 30. And this has something to do with fishing. I don't know what, but I see it without the string. And it just, I don't know what it's going to be. And then I might find a little sculpture like this, and some cow things. Just fun, and boxes. I'm always looking for the right box to put it in. And actually, can you come over this way? That's an owl. And do you know what it is? It's a saw handle. 2 eyes in it, and you got an owl. And people seem to like that, really. It's fun, great fun. So I just went out and bought some more saws, and I'm taking them apart at the house to make some more, because they're hot. My owls are hot, anyway, and I love doing them. And it might find kids' blocks. There's something in the show that says, "Why not?" And so I use those. I don't cut much up. Use what that they're there. I may paint them. This is old type, pieces of type. And I made that my toys, and I put that in a box, do something with it. Don't know what yet, but that's the fun of it. Old picture frames with stuff. I'll have a box made for the back of this to do something, but I don't know what yet. To be determined, okay? And my tools, it's a mess, but it's a happy mess. And I'm having a ball doing it. I will take a box and then play to put it what makes the good design in it. It may have a theme, it may be just a cityscape, or it might be like I talk about the owls. It could be anything that comes to my crazy head here. And then I have to glue them in or screw them in. I may have to cut a piece down. I may have to add to it. I may not use it. I may take it away. But that's what makes it more interesting. And the boxes are all old boxes. Once in a while I'll use something modern, but really, and I paint the boxes. I clean them all first. I mean in soap and water. And also then I gesso them. Sometimes I leave them in natural like they are, and sometimes I paint them. It depends on the subject matter that's inside. I only use acrylic paint because it dries fast, and I'm impatient, I guess. But yeah, and then of course they have to be sprayed to make them permanent, and it's a process. You may be interested to know what the subject matter is. I think they're all paintings. Yes, they're wood and they have dimension and all, but doesn't the painting have that also? They may not have multicolors, but all paintings don't have multicolor in them either. So I just enjoy that part of it too, the process of making it, and the process of that. A lot of it's theater, because theater, if you look at a stage, that's a painting. Even though somebody painted the stage set off, but the whole set is a painting. And I like that concept. Oh, there are times, like I talked about the owl. All right, when I saw that in the junk shop, the saws, I saw an owl. But other times, I'm just playing and putting them together and finding what works, and it evolves. A painting evolves too, but you might do sketches for a painting. These are my sketches. You know, when you think about it, I'm not drawing them, I'm finding them and playing with them, putting them in the boxes. I'm making a painting in a sense. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of when I was a kid in kindergarten and the blocks and piling up the blocks and all. I would love to do that again. You know, you'd have to and build something, you know, with the wooden blocks. God, would that be fun? Wouldn't that be fun to have a bunch of people do it? We should try that sometime. So the process is, I get this done here, the pieces in the boxes, and know what they look like and finish them and so forth. And then I have to figure out, first of all, how to hang them. Do they hang on the wall? Do they sit? You know, are they on something, on a pedestal? As you saw in the show, there are a couple things on pedestals. So some of them can hang and be mirrors or whatever. And then you have to, well, I don't want to talk about pricing, but then you have to price them, because in that you find out later what prices they should be. And there's never, you never can price them as to what you think they're worth or what they're worth to the public. And you find out. Artists are always asking me, well, how do I price my work? And I always say, I don't know, because I don't know either. It's what you can find out when you present them. If they sell, then you know the price is close to what they're worth, because somebody bought it. So you go by that. And with, like anything else, you have to have excess. I mean, if you're doing a painting, you have to have canvases that you haven't used yet. And you have to have paper, and you have to have pencils, and you have to have new brushes all the time. So I'm always looking, and I mean, those are glove dryers. And a heart. I don't know where that's going, but there's a glove dryer. And there's an old sock dryer. And I may not use these for years, who knows, but like anything else, you have to have it. There's a Y for why not. That's an old piece from a typesetters. Over there. Whoops. Some of it has to be organized, and most of it doesn't, right? And some of this I may never use. I don't know. Who knows? It doesn't make any difference. But you have to keep buying it. I was out buying it today, just because I want to get excited about some of this. But it may lay here for weeks or months or years. Who knows? This is where I paint. This is my studio above the garage. I've had fancy studios all over town, but I don't need any more of those. So this is where I paint when I paint. And this is my memorabilia wall. I'm a Syracuse grad, and I bleed orange horribly. And so there's all the stuff. Syracuse has been extremely good to me. I'm still working with them. I'm going to do some audio things next month with old artists that are alums, and talking to them and finding out what they're doing at this age. Are they still vibrant? Are they still having fun? Et cetera, et cetera. So that's great. They're going to come here and do what you're doing, Jim. And then that goes out to BPRs and public radio and stuff. Apparently, what do they call it? Voice is better now than coffee table books. Kids are all listening to stuff, not looking at books. So I'm doing this with the library at Syracuse. very active. In fact, last week the dean was here and other people anyway. And they're really good to me. And I'm having fun with that. But I never went in the library when I was in college. I was doing artwork, so anyway. So that's what all of this is. And from shows I've done, that's when I was a cheerleader at Syracuse. And I'm still trying to be a cheerleader for Brandon and the arts here and stuff. So that's been an important thing in my life. So that's the studio. It's rather clean right now, but there's stuff all around. There are paints I haven't used yet. I was going to start using oil paints, which I haven't used since I was in college. And I found that it takes too long for them to dry. So maybe I'll get into them, but I'm having too much fun with putting these things together at this point. It may never happen, and the paint may die or dry up sometime in the next 100 years. Or I may give them to somebody, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen next. That's always the adventure for me, finding out what is going to be next. People say to me, what's your favorite painting or project in the arts? And I say the next one, because I'm thinking about it all the time, and I forget the old one. You know, if it sells, it sells. If it doesn't, we have big storage. I had great fun making this, because about 5 years ago, an artist friend of mine brought me these baby carriage, doll carriage wheels. And I said to him, what the heck am I going to do with those? So I put them in the pile that you saw. And then I had some woodwork done in the house, and I put the remainders of these pine pieces together, and all of a sudden I saw a train. You know? And it's got some of the pieces that you saw in the cellar, you know, in it. And where the rover came from, I don't know. I don't remember. But there's all different kinds of things in here that belong in a house or someplace. This was a tool of some kind. And, this is a hat mold. I showed you one downstairs. And of course, the souvenir is a souvenir of someone going to the Statue of Liberty in New York. And the painting, in the back, I painted. You know, I like the flag, I like the design of the flag. I don't always put the same amount of stars on it, or I don't put the same amount of stripes on it, but I like the color and the excitement of it. And the spokes at the top are antique tent stakes that when you set up a tent, you poke them in the ground. And I thought they made perfect, what would you call it? Fireworks or something. And, and then this guy, someone gave me these piano pedals. And so I built up above it. The only thing they gave me were the pedals here and a little of this structure, not with these. I put those in. It just had metal rods in the back. And then I found this tin type of a guy, an antique guy. So I call it the Piano Man, because there's his feet going and here's he up top. This was fun. I found a child's dollhouse high boy. And so what did I call that one? Boudoir up here with a woman in it, and it looks like a woman's bedroom. Who knows? And mirrors are fun to make. These are, they tie back shutters on a house. These. I don't know what that is. I have no idea. But of course, all these are pieces that I put together and then had the mirror put in it. This is fun. These are HOME, home, and the front door, and a porcelain knob from probably a cupboard or cabinet or something. But the whole HOME are typesetters, type pieces. that they don't use anymore, but anyway. I have no idea what this is, what they are, but they are male and female, if you get close enough. And so I thought, well, that's Adam and Eve. And it's called Temptation. That had a lot of attention. These are children's blocks. And I think I talked before about liking blocks, kids' blocks as a kid. And there's a top in here that was made in Brandon back in the 20s. It was called, I can't think of the name of it, Newton and Thompson Toy Company. And they made toys for Sears Roebuck catalog back in the 20s. And of course, this is New York City. There's a shoe last in here. The rest of the things are just parts. But you have entrances to buildings and so forth. This is one of my favorites. And this I thought was fun because somebody could have put a mirror in there, in back of it. It's suited to do that. And they either have to have it done or I can do it anyway. And these little pieces I really had fun doing. What I call this one, Just Us, because there's two people in there. And these are runoffs of a friend of mine that does ironworking. I go through his piles of ironwork residue. Actually, this one's kind of fun. I didn't name it because I didn't want to get too political with people, but I call this Retreat. And it has snow coming in the back of the trees, which I painted. But the guy in there, I think this is Bernie's Retreat, I call that. I had fun with that. Why not? That's one of my mottos, is why not, or just do it. Another scene. I found these wonderful letters, L.A. And I said, my God, somebody will like that from L.A. And it happened today that somebody came in, he's going to send it to a friend of theirs who lives in L.A. I did this one 2 weeks before the show. I felt that the show needed some tall piece, like in a house, a grandfather clock or something like that. Always sets a room off. You can't have everything the same size all the time. So actually somebody came, an artist friend of mine, and named it The Force. I really thought it was kind of flowers, but it's just kind of, you know. And those are croquet balls up here, the round balls, and then other just pieces from Tinker Toy pieces. This is a fun thing. Did you take a picture of this one? All right. The other day, I was told that a teacher came in with a young man who had special needs, but was really quite, he brought him here to see this and so forth. I didn't meet him, so I don't really know what happened. But he looked at this and he said, I didn't know that Mr. Kimble painted the Mona Lisa. Is that funny? Because that's what's in there. You know, just wonderful. How people react to things, that just threw me and made me laugh and was wonderful. And the Google bird here, or whatever you want to call them. These are salad picker-uppers. This is a shoe last. This is a masher for mashing something, I don't know, food of some kind, wheat or something. So anyway. This is theater over here. I think of Chinese, how do you say, Grumman Theater in, is that in LA or someplace? I've never seen it, but that reminded me of that. It looked like a theater entrance. A garden. These are pieces again from a friend who teaches welding, and this was his teaching pile of throwaways that he demonstrated with. And I just thought, and this is part of a stove, an old cook stove. And then I find these other pieces to put them together. And it's the design concept that interests me, having fun with that. This is again a piece from my welder friend. And there's a little guy here, and I called it Climbing the Ladder of Success. This is fun. Again, type a whistle, a bowling game, another one of those toy tops, which I have a lot of, as you can see. And how to incorporate them is really the fun part of it. This is, I call this the happy clown, because he's really a clown. Again, the piece, and I put a head on him. But I think he's kind of fun. It's figurative. Call this piece over here Cathedral, and it has more color than the others, and I had fun doing that. This is a piece of a front porch. These are from an antique clock, the lions, and a medallion here, and this is kind of a stained glass window in here. I had fun doing that one. I had fun doing all of them. But anyway, so that's it. I'm still doing it, still having fun doing it, and we'll do more. So, thank you.